Yeah. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, how are you, my brother? How are you doing?
I'm
Yes.
fine, sir.
Well,
The rest will join us shortly.
yes, no problem. Yes.
Morning, sir. Mr. Amos.
Hi, good morning, madam. How are you? Morning.
Very well, thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Are we all here? Shem,
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, ma. Good morning.
is everyone in?
Good morning, ma.
Morning, Shem.
Good
How are you
Good
doing?
morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma.
Yeah,
Morning, sir.
sure.
Okay, Tejuri is not in yet.
Yes, she said our system is down and there is no light at her place.
Okay, can we start?
Okay,
Let's start.
all right. Okay, madam. All right. So thanks. Let me just try share my screen. So what I've been able to do that yesterday now was to almost like initiate a site, like I'm doing a site implementation to be able to run. So with that, I got the reporting side of the application working. All right, so yesterday we did some of those things, but let me just get back there and we can begin to review some of the areas of reports that I wanted to share. And of course, discuss more. Okay. Okay, right. More particularly when I shared the last time, okay, the way the entire product issues that product models are developed is such that the leasing, the credits, the treasury, perhaps we may have to, for the purpose of what we're looking at, try to see how I fuse this for the use of, at any rates, because they are all integrated with the GL side, it might be a lot easier that we can actually bring them together in that but then for control purposes, why we have them in separated menus this way. But then the entire thing was that, you know, at each time, okay, the other time we were in the, we got to reports and I couldn't even get the reports to work. Let me just first confirm that that is in order now. So when I get into say the borrower's environment, I would have every module has its own reporting. You know, every module has its own set of reporting, and the sets of reports are such that they are as actually might be required. Okay, like each of these reports, okay, there are quite a lot more that we are adding to this part of the application, because even this application from the last time we discussed the last time, you know, we're talking about if there are any additional reports that can be added. Once you have transactional parts of the application, anything about data and report is easy for anyone to add based on any request from time to time. And in here, I can particularly say like the case I had yesterday, maybe for any account, I say maybe Sam. Maybe if I have something like this and I check what deals this person may have and what deals this person may have. Okay, looks, this does not have any investment deal, and maybe they just fine. Just looking for some account that I've tried populating some data. Okay, same. Yesterday I did a Joseph demo, and okay, that's hard, gave me this, and if I were to report from this to this, the report couldn't come up before, but then this should spool the records for the transactions of any of those selections. Let me just see what that spools, and I could drill that down for any other account with a lot of records or fewer records and all that. Okay, fine. Now, okay, right. So what it simply does is that okay, yesterday I remembered I just did, I'm sure you remember this transaction. that I just did an initial disbursement of this, and I made a repayment of this and this being 520. And this is, for instance, what you may call what is like the master statement. And this master statement, what the master statement does is that it brings all transactions, like if you have several products, product 1, product 2, product 3, things having different effective dates, different tenors, and all of that, everything will be out in your master. Whereas the particular one, if you are going by a particular deal, you can always use that one to also refer to a particular deal. And the system will always report the deal number, you know, the particular deal number that you are reporting from. Reports also may continue this way. Let me push this down. Okay, here. Okay, maybe I want to pick on another report, for instance. Say I want general reporting that may want to show me all outstanding principal and interest. You know, it might be across board or generic or so, just from, say, something like this. Okay, maybe I want to go back to whatever time in the past and now. Let's see what this could be. I think I was able to build a lot of data across yesterday and last night. So this, for instance, you have outstanding principal and interest, where this will be that all the list of items within that chosen deal, the principal, the interest, and perhaps what is outstanding and things like that. And you can actually also find the other accounts, because other accounts and other deals for which at the end of the day, if it is general for a very busy portfolio set, it may be very easy that if you scroll towards the end, it might actually be in a lot of, you know, there could be a lot of money involved at the end of the day. And as you can see, let me just see a typical account here. I want to see the movement in a typical account so that we can actually study what is going in there. If you notice, what it does is that, being total maturity interest, the system actually does the interest application at maturity. It does it also at the monthly, when we are doing when the monthly interest is being accrued. And of course, if you are to leave it for the system to do it on a daily basis, the interest actually triggers by about 12 midnight, when all transactions of the previous day, by 12 midnight going forward, the interest for the past day would have been affected in preparation for the new day. And that was the example I was given the last time, that assuming you have missing transactions or not up-to-date transactions, that scenario, if you automate it at that point, that it might be difficult for you to really be able to, you know, have a safe set of record. In case maybe things were not posted at their right times and there is now need for you to post it in future or something like that. Like, for instance, this is the 6th of August. About now, people are just planning, you know, to ensure that reconciliations of the past period is in order about this set of transactions. And of course, all the interest can now be tidied up when they are so sure, but not that those things were happening on a daily basis and they're having to be going forth and back on missing transactions, I mean, as it were. So this is the situation I was describing the last time. And this you can actually pick for any account in terms of what movement, being interest balance dropped here, principal opening, being interest repayment, being interest repayment. And if you always look at it, the interest repayments and the principal are always netting off, and this will always impact on the appropriate GL code based on the configuration that we have done. So the accounting at the GL side is not actually anyone's headache at all. Once this is okay, the accounting side is in order, and the accountant can be able to do its validation and get the financial reporting out from that end. So this is just the interplay between the activity of the operation side here, whether the interest, whether the principal, or the element of repayments and the proportions of repayments and all that. And of course, we're able to know whether the interest that is applied is just a monthly one, or the investment has matured and the maturity interest has been, in fact, like I can see an item here, they said write-off bad loan, assuming for some reason this loan was so bad and management had decided to pass. Like I said, you can actually pass in a debit note, a credit note into any of these accounts, and you'll be able to, the narration will be able to speak for what the action or whatever action may be. Yeah. And a lot more reports in there, and more like a maturing interest for maturing credits. For instance, I say maturing credits that could be from last month, and now what were the interests that may have matured at that time. So based on the effective date, the tenor, and of course the class of that investment, the system is able to say things that are maturing within that specified period of time and that schedule. So from that report, you may always, you could always want to look at what you already have, and then one will be able to confirm what elements of this are there that you may want to okay. What again? Let me see. Okay, since some other interesting things like here, principal and interest for, say, in an account, saying, let me see, tech. Okay. Let's see. I could just deal that. So depending on the reports of interest, but then I would also share with you some of the unplanned reports ahead that we have ahead to add up. To add up on the application, which I think yesterday in my presentation in my presentation group there, you'll be able to have the other sets of reporting that's also to be added, because in the discussion the last time, I really may not have said that, oh, all reports may have been complete as it were, but of course, newer reports, as we also researching to see what you find safer and additional things that I've also built together in this area to be able to, let me see, yes, to be, yeah, to be able to share with you. And there are several of those reports that we pull together that, of course, ongoing work right now is being added. One of it is okay, like for instance, general simple views to all loans, all products, adding due, missed, repayment arrears, and some of the past maturity, outstanding. Sometimes we want to look at months late loans or so, or 3 months, whatever. So if you have any other ideas of reports, they are very easy for us to now tweak and get the data to present in the reporting form. And I mean, it's just unending. It's unending that we can always get other fees reports. We can also get some other loan of, like, assuming if you have account officers, which will be added, which will be attached to each of these accounts, we may want to report some of these things based on the internal account officers. Sometimes the various loan products which you would have defined. The various loan products we can now be able to classify and see the reporting at the level of each of those reports. What else then? Some others. like I said, okay, of course, like on a daily basis, some of the things you want to get on a daily basis, like the opening cash balance, number of due loans, as of say today, for instance, how many due loans do you have? These are just short query intercepts, which could all just through a report, and this could even send a notification says to top management. And these are things we can just serve rather than you going to fetch them. And this kind of reports can be served because they are just intercepts that at the end of day, these reports can just summarize all of this and share with management as to what this operation is about. I mean, what your total network for the day has been, where you're able to see your opening, you're able to see your the total due, what is due as of today, and expected collections, expected principal collection, expected interest calculation, expected fees calculations, and so much. Several other into several details, you know, where actual fees and all that, and several other details and all of that, and things that are just relevant, you know, things that are relevant that you may want to be able to know that, oh, at a point in time, this is actually what it is. Particularly of this one, these are things you could just do on a daily basis and can be served. And of course, you have short versions for end of month positions. Of course, disbursements will always have a list of disbursements for all the tranches or initial deposits that you may have done. Then, of course, you can begin to look at age analysis of certain investments that are about how many days old you want to see, from 1 to 60 days, maybe from 60 to 180 and beyond, and all that. So it can be classified and grouped. One can actually, these are some other reports that can always group these reports in those fashions. Then your collections, obviously, also you may want to actually also do this report of collections depending on products, depending on account officers, and of course based on different date ranges. Okay, and quite a lot of other interesting, like for instance, this could be like something that is useful for the month end, while the other one I said, the other time could be a daily thing. You want to know what is the net position per day, and this could be something you want to also summarize for end of month. Okay, and then of course, outstanding reports. You want to see your outstanding reports. This can be by, we want to do this, see these outstanding reports by each project, by each loan account, or even by the account officers or the loan product. Portfolio risk, particularly, for particularly your risk reports. The portfolio at risk report is actually those ones, for instance, that you think they are falling due. Some of them may have been falling due for 30 days. Some of them may have been falling due for 60 days, and so on. And that prepares your mind as to possibility of tending doubtful and being able to get this regular, being able to get this early enough, you know. Okay, and sometimes, you know, with this data, we could always do some chatting, you know, having to chat your repayments, you can chat your disbursements, and chat, a couple of chatting is also possible from the raw data that you have. Okay, while this might be speaking to a lease schedule scenario, where maybe the lease rental periods are indicated in terms of the number of months, and the appropriate set of data is taken, when is it effective from, and what is the asset cost. And once that is done, the system should be able to now use those set of data to kind of determine the 18-month schedule, for which when you start from period 1, and of course to drill all that down towards the last month, and at the end of the day, you should be able to have the net of what is outstanding as 0, and all this will effect on the account, of course, based on the actual transactions that may have transpired, but this ordinarily showing like a schedule of what has happened. But we're trying to bring this together with the credits so that it doesn't have to stay on its own independently. Okay. I'm going back to the application. Okay. Yes, going back to the application, I wanted to see how we go back to the past periods, those other areas of reporting too, particularly, let me see, particular reports maybe on the portfolio reporting that those ones will be able to give you certain instances of valuation of diverse areas of what your investments may be doing, or some set of valuation reporting that you can have, and several other types under maybe transaction reports. Let me see. Where we have periodic valuation, we have quite a lot of other reports in here. Like we have the, I think most importantly, you want to see the periodic valuation where, okay, it's a periodic valuation. We have the cost-free valuation report, the periodic valuation, where you may want to now point this to your portfolio, any of your portfolios, for instance. Any of your portfolio, for instance, say this, and maybe as of now, if there are things in there, it will be able to pick whatever they are in there and give you a valuation based on the price that would have been updated. Okay, like this is just a typical instance. What it simply does is that it picks that the quantity, the price, the value, the market price, and of course gain or loss and all of that. And this we can actually do. We can actually drill down for any accounts of choice or a general outlook. And even sometimes you may want to look at what we call the weighted average cost reporting, where also in this regard, you may want to let me see, you may want to actually also pick that and look at the weighted average cost price that as it is in that account, and you may want to specify, let me see, from this period, and I do this, and the system should be able to give me, oh, sorry, let me see. What version was that? Weighted average cost price, okay, all stocks, okay. All stocks. I'll do this, let me just do this. Okay, that account may not have any other accounts, which I'm just compare to see which account may have something to see. Okay, fine. Okay, this may have something to see. This actually gives you a granular listing of perhaps all the stock items that may be there from the time you perhaps commence the system, and the system lets you to see that as is determining gains or losses, is doing so you're using weighted average cost pricing from this column, and this would be exact weighted average cost price that is going to use to determine gains or losses in these portfolios, and this can be generated for as any portfolio at any point in time. And at the end of the day, and you can see all of this will be the true weighted average cost price, which obviously only change when you are disinvesting. It could possibly change when you are disinvesting, but of course, it may not have any impact when we are adding to the items on the investment portfolio. Reports also, like I said, there are quite a lot, maybe like movements. If you have a position here, there could also be like a movement. Like I'm assuming I want to see how something, like the last weighted average cost price is also a movement, while you can also get something that gives you like a position and all that. So maybe I may just be guided on what other areas, okay, like in the GL, for instance, also the reporting from that side too. The reporting from that side too, also basics to financials, where I can, of course, generate things done today, for instance, if I have any transactions done today, for instance, if you have statement of accounts, you have net trades based on settlements of what you have done against external trade effects. And of course, your trial balance, which you can see at a cumulative position on a monthly position, the quarterly, or sometimes unauthorized. Unauthorized being that this unauthorized have their capability of going to past periods to give you a flow from past periods into the present. And for any postings, whether in any module, whether you did like a deposit, somebody is crediting an account, all transaction postings have documents that you can print. A deposit will always have an e-document that serves that you can print to cover for a corporate receipt. A payment will always create an e-document that covers for a payment voucher, which is filed out and you can print them out and is always ever in the record. Then, of course, debit notes are also printable. Credit notes are also printable. And for the class, for the class of money market instruments, for the class of money market instruments, here, like we discussed, that in each of them, there will always be a GL admin area where you onboard a treasury a placement account where you do the classification and that is configuration with the chart of account and treasury deal classification. Assuming a deal is not doing well or is this, one can always look at what mode any of this is, which is also something you do with from the credit side, whether it's a matured good standing, matured doubtful, or matured and interest can stop and things like that. And of course, like I said, selective interest is what you want when you want to do interest manually. You want to handle it manually, maybe by account or something, but then monthly interest, this does the global monthly interest and it raises the appropriate interest based on the last time. And each time you do, if interest has been run for today, the system will never go back. It will only start from the last time the interest was run on any portfolio, and the updates on that account will be done. And on the financial area, that is where the placements are actually done. That is, you also have in this case, there's a placement that you can actually place for initial, and there's also what you can place as additional. That is also deal-based, and that is in this case, deal slip-based. Credit note, debit notes, and of course, interest reversals. You use the references to do your reversal, just like you also do in the general ledger side, and funds where debit notes and credit notes are also possible. I think then also here, the reports in here, I think more report. Okay, sorry, I needed to load some more reports also here, where you have treasury product listing, statements, and perhaps some other, of course, some other treasury reports that will be loaded here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this has to do with internal fixed asset, and the other, it has to do with the general ledger. The fixed asset register and the general ledger is also integrated, because this handles all the assets of your subsidiary, and that's, you can manage from the system. If you buy, you update the register from the system, and it does the asset depreciation on a monthly basis, and on that scale. Well, I was trying to think if I can get your opinion, please. Okay, okay, an assistant. Yes, okay, sorry. Please, if I might just get your opinion, sirs. Sorry, hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I hear you, sir.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Sir, what did you say, sir?
Oh, no, sorry. I said if I can get your opinion, you know, it's just, if I can just get more of your opinion, please.
All right. I think you have done, you've done the, I think you took your time to give us these modules, and I think it speaks to some of the things that we are looking at. Although I didn't investment part where I didn't really get I was trying to follow, but I didn't really understand how it's going, how you were doing it. So that's just the only one. But the other one on the leasing and credit, I
Yeah.
understand it. But the other investment one, I could
Okay.
not understand what you were trying to do there. And I also want to ask that
Yeah.
is it
Ire.
when you were taking for the reports, when you were printing getting the reports, the time it was using to drop was a bit not fast. I don't know, maybe it was the network, or maybe that's how it's designed. So I
Okay.
just wanted to ask that. Was it
Okay, sorry. First was that I did an auto generation of a lot of data. This database is quite large. That's one. And this database is actually quite large, to be frank with you, because what I did was like I just auto generated a lot of data into places where I had account names and numbers. So almost like trying to simulate some set of transactions. That's, in fact, this was the cause of what I was trying to achieve yesterday. I mean, because it wouldn't be easy for me to begin to imagine transactions, but I mean, it was just like trying to imagine or try to simulate some data to build. But one, the data is large, and don't forget that this is a cloud solution. And when such happens in a live scenario, at no point would you perhaps have this extent of large data, because what happens is that what we do is that every year, as you are doing your end of year process. Today, okay, like this is August. As of January, February, March, 90 days after an end of year, most companies would have planned to net off and sort out all the issues of past period. So what they do, what the system does is that at that point, the system takes advantage to archive a lot of things and bring forward data that will be used in the current financial year, and that makes your environment a lot freer. But then in the course of my work here, I think I just opened up data for work. And of course, you know, in a virtual online environment, one could expect some delays, perhaps in querying and also displaying. But then, of course, that obviously won't be too bad for anything for most of, particularly in this area, especially it will only be for a very large company where the size of data is also very, very huge. And then of course,
all right, sir.
Okay, to explain what I actually how I place the portfolio management side is that most of what you will find there has to do with stock investment, for which most of the time you want to be able to get the valuation. Before now, valuation was a mere report, but today valuation is an accounting process. The accounting process in the sense that for you to see the net value of what you have currently, it must be benchmarked. It must be, how do I put it? It must be marked to market for you to know that, yes, in real time today, being the 6th of August, my investment or the investment of any portfolio is what it is. And that's why the concept of that weighted average cost price is important. If you were to like trade real time, all these things would have been coming automatically, and the system has the capability of even producing all the transactions and doing all those things. But then if most of the time you are having to like do these investments through another house, then it's not unlikely that you'll be informed of the set of transactions on a daily basis. And we have file specifications in CSV formats that the system, we can upload into the system, and the system will lay them into the appropriate portfolios of the system. And of course, the same accounting and everything will interplay. But the bottom line is, how do you monitor these investments in terms of valuation? How sometimes would you sometimes want to think of reconstructing them? And this is, for me, it's just a side hobby, but then this is just the core issues that you'll be facing as in asset management, trying to see how well you improve the net worth of a particular portfolio. And I think this is more of where more of the dynamism of this operation will likely be.
So, Mr. Amos, well done, and thank you for what you've been able to do. So, if we decide to do this, how long will it take for us to have a software to work with? What's the time frame?
Frankly, in 4 weeks, you know, a while, you know, I said the last time about 8 weeks, but the planning is that you'll be able to work from 4th week, because basically what is outstanding, like additional reporting, and quite a lot of them we've gathered to put together, and this will be done, all this reporting. Plus, you know, we've not even confirmed that. I'm sure the internal personnel there would also have reports beyond perhaps what I may think of. So this would also help, that if I get them, it will also, I mean, in the first 4 weeks of the project will be live, sir. It will be live, madam.
Okay, for the accounting records, what report will you require for the accounting records?
What we'll need is, like first, you know, in my discussion the last time, I got to know that there was some form of operation before now. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When that happens,
there is an audited account as of December
excellent.
31, 2023.
In fact, excellent. I was even going to think there was nothing like that, but then there must always
there's
be
an audited account.
there will always be something called the statement of affairs, which this audited account will replace.
No. There's an audited account.
Oh, no. Then if that is the case, then we don't have any issue. We'll just pick that audited account and we'll load it. That would even give me an idea of the chart of accounts that you require as a basic to set up that chart of account. That would be, that's the foundation. So from the accountant, because I will still have 1 or 2 instances to work with him to confirm what his input will be at that point, of course, from some understanding that he may have. I may not be very strong in this area, to be frank with you, more stretched by capital market, but to be frank with you, this is still things within my content, because even this version of online, we were doing this, all these things were tidied up in web versions many years ago. So it's not as if they are new. So you can imagine, having done all this in the web version, future of you were using this, they were not even, it wasn't even web. In the old version of Integra, all these things were there. So, but then lifting them to cloud, because non-cloud became unattractive, became even not a way to work with. It's just the stuff. Like, in fact, recently, I'm just changing Fidelity Finance. I didn't even know they were using my old version. I thought they've even gone to buy another product, but they are just changing over, and they are just doing that now within the last 2 weeks and now. But then it's just for people to appreciate that online environment. Look at where we are now. We may not even have the opportunity of accessing the office, but the office runs. The office runs, and I think this is just the new change, which is it's been good for everybody. But then we should also pray for God for so many others.
Okay, sir. Do we have any other comments, please, so that we can release Mr. Amos?
No, ma.
Afa is not saying anything.
Well, good morning, ma. I'm listening.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Amos.
Do you have any comments?
I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, everyone. I appreciate you.
Yes, my comment is that I discovered that it's taking us far above what we saw yesterday, and it's very good. But my question is this: on the master account that you mentioned, where you can have all transactions in one.
Yes.
So on the other hand, can you have a single transaction Simple in the sense that maybe you have a deal in an account instead of having a D1, D2, D3 in one.
Oh, yes, you know, the master was to consolidate. There are deal-based reports, of course, yes. There's deal-based reports.
Okay. And then secondly, the interest accrual.
Yes.
So does it require human intervention? Maybe if you are doing it on a monthly basis, or is system?
Yes, human, because I said you may not. Okay, like let me just recap that. Well, let's put it this way. You see, where we do not want a human intervention, you may want to weigh it and see what works best for you. I've just put a situation whereby you see issue about instruments that are money market in nature are so time bound that the tenor, the interest, and the workings of interest determination is so critical that if you allow that, if you want to work based on that, that means things must happen as they happen. So if, for instance, like I shared the last time that, look at that, a customer yesterday perhaps was just having a repayment, and perhaps no officer, nobody was there to update the account or the record of that portfolio, that borrower, for instance. If perchance we have automated, say, oh, every night, system, do it yourself. We don't want to have anything to do with interest accrual. System will do it on itself. The system would only remember that 12 midnight today, it will charge interest on accounts. And because those entries, which was just one, assuming there is more than 1, 2, 3, 4 of such instances, it will almost leave you in a bad state, having to feel you want to reverse this. And you see, interest is not something you keep reversing and what have you that way, because once you begin to reverse your tenor going back, even a bank, 5, 6 o'clock, 7, they've taken a position, end of day, everything is adjusted. If anything is to happen, you must be raising a journal to credit or debit something somewhere the next day or following days. So this, to disallow this from not occurring, is why we said that you can now be part of doing that only when you are very sure that everything is in order.
Thank you so much.
Okay. No problem. We'll look at that because I really do not like the human intervention at all.
Yes.
But we will look at that and see how we can manage it, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Yes, we'll work on the information we have, then we'll go back to you very soon.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you, everybody.
All right, sir.
I appreciate it.
Have a